We're live. Just going to give it a couple of seconds. And lost stream. So easy. Oh, we are live, and welcome to Follow Everton. This is the pre-match build-up show. I'm in the car with everyone, with Steve. We're on our way to the infamous Everton Stadium. Well, we're hoping to, but we've got a learner driver in front of us at the moment who's determined to make sure we can't get there, probably for our own safety, really, because another night match at the stadium. Everton have played 6 or 7 night games this season and not won a single one. I'm going to list them for you now. Newcastle United, terrible game. We just got turned over on the counter-attack multiple times. Tottenham Hotspur, they scored 2 corners. Same player scored a corner down at the south stand. I think it was Van der Ven. Who else? Arsenal, they got the fluky win. We should have had a penalty. They got a penalty. They won 1-0. Brentford, an absolute fiasco, losing several goals to nil. Sorry, I think it was 4-1 at home. And then there was also the Bournemouth game last week, 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Are you stopping?
Draws against West Ham and draws against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Draws against Leeds. Steve, you're with me. You'd say that's an effing disgrace, really. I mean, when you put it like that, it's outrageous.
You'll have to mute when I speak. Hello, Rye. Hello, everyone. Yes, there's been more turnovers than Pancake Day. I think Everton have had a fair share of midweek games, haven't we? Let's face it, it's about as inconvenient as it gets. Can't even get a train back tonight. So anyone who's really wanting to leave Dale Dickinson needs to do so about 8:10. Today is an 8 o'clock kickoff as well, right? What's that all about? We've been kicking off at 7 o'clock.
I don't mind the 8 o'clock kickoff, Steve. I think it helps people a little bit more if you're coming out of work, you've got kids you need to put to bed, babysitters. I mean, that Bournemouth game, perhaps if I'd have been able to, if it had been a slightly later kickoff, that would have been advantageous to me. But I just think it's too many night games. I think Sky are obviously clearly prioritising the revenue here, Everton prioritising the revenue, but Everton have got a very poor record in these games. I don't know what to put it down to. Have you got any ideas whatsoever?
Just I guess added pressure of being at home. We seem to do better away from home, and then at home we're expected to win. Games that like take tonight, we were expected to win, but 1-1 draw will be probably where I'd be putting my money. And I think that it's just kind of like added anxiety of trying to win all these games in the first season at home to create a fortress feeling where it's more like a broken sandcastle.
Steve, I'm going to give you the team as well now. I'm going to hopefully make it, I don't know, I couldn't make it much worse for you. Jordan Pickford in goal and right back today. He's the best right back at the club. It's James Garner. We'll talk about this in a moment. For me, he's the best right back and the best central midfielder at the club. And that is obviously because he's bringing some players into midfield. We'll talk about that in a moment. Alongside him in the centre of defence is James Tarkowski, who hasn't been great for me this season. I think the eye test, he's not passing the eye test as much as he's passing the stat test. And alongside him, bizarrely, is Michael Keane. I haven't forgot the Sam Allardyce, the Ronald Koeman, the Marco Silva days. I haven't forgot when he was an absolute calamity at the back, week in, week out, and even for lots of times under Frank Lampard and Dyche. So for me, I don't understand why he's now the in-favour central defender. Alongside him, as I said before, James Tarkowski. And then at left back today, another bizarre one, Steve. Vitaly Mikalenko dropped and Jared Branthwaite, our best central defender, is playing left back. So you would just start with the defence and kind of break that down. As I said, James Garner's the best right back at the club. What do you make of him playing at right back?
Yeah, spot on, Ryan. I think it's really hard to depict through this whole mess of a lineup if you kind of can excuse me for a minute while I just try and process what's happening. Basically,
Why do you
Garner,
look darker than me, by the way?
uh, I could go here. Would think we're in the same vehicle. We do look similar. Anyway, yes, Ryan. It's like, have you seen Sesame Street, the two-headed monster? It's a bit like that, where two brothers discuss a despicable lineup. No, listen, look, Everton have been shooting themselves in the foot at home. The imbalance of the right back or lack of has been the biggest problem for me, because I think when you're at home, you need to create chances and you need to create some width to stretch the opposition. Everton have not had an opportunity to do that because they keep playing around peg in a square hole. Now, today, they play arguably our best right back in James Garner because he's got the ability to get up the pitch. He's fitness wise. He's got this. He's got the. It, it looks like some Everton players are all out of position as they drive to the game. Basically, Garner playing right back will give Everton more creative ability. But unfortunately, that has been counterbalanced by the fact that we have another square peg in a round hole on the left. I don't understand the Mikalenko thing, Ryan. Could be that he's
He's
got
not good. He's not been good at home, Steve. He's been awful, Mikalenko. And I think you're spot on. The setup that in these home games has been so poor with Jack and the Beanstalk in Jake O'Brien playing right back, just offering nothing at either end because most of the time he's as you say, a square peg in a round hole. Tarkovsky incapable of dealing with physical central defenders or anyone with a bit of space when we're trying to play a high line. I do think David Moyes has tried to change things in the Bournemouth match. I think we played a lot better. We were very unlucky to lose that game. And we did play with a different style of football to that we did in the other matches and just got caught with a couple of mad moments. We should have been out of sight. In this game, though, I do think what will help us is the fact that we probably aren't expected to win for two reasons. We're rubbish at home, and Man United are on very good form. We'll come to that in a moment and how that will impact us tactically. But let's move into midfield then. We can't see a lot of width coming from the left back now. It looks like he'll tuck in and make a back three and allow James Garner to play as like a pseudo midfielder. But then it only really works, I think, if Jake O'Brien is the right back because he tucks in and makes it a back three. I don't really fancy Michael Keane or Tarkovsky isolated 1v1 against one of Man United's wide men. Anyway, midfield, Timur Abunan and Idrissa Gana Gueye are in that midfield. Gana Gueye has been awful for most of the season. For me, he's been really poor. He's in there on name, not merit. Timur Abunan, sometimes he looks like Zidane or Esteban Cambiasso in that midfield, and other times he looks absolutely useless. The better players down speak playing five-a-sides. Just awful. So you don't know what you're going to get with those two. And then the wide options, bizarre again. Harrison Armstrong, central midfielder, number 8, playing on the wing, probably on the left or the right wing. What is going on, Steve?
Well, it's hard to work out where this width is coming from. Maybe the Everton team need to go to Savile Row and get a tape measure because I can't see Everton being able to stretch Manchester United for this game. It's going to be very narrow down the middle, and I think what Moyes is trying to do is he's basically try and compress the Manchester United attacking players from breaking through and try and stay in the game into the second half. And I think it's been very poor at home in general. But when you line up like this, it does raise questions. I think it's a big absence in not picking an out and out winger, especially maybe on the left flank, because in having a defender at left back, I think that really means that we're giving the impetus to the opposition. I think you're right about Tim Irabunum. He's yo-yo player for me. Puts in some good minutes, and then the next minute looks shocking. I'd like to see other players in the lineup instead of him, just to add a little bit of a change. Maybe Merlin Grohl, but obviously Roll. Sorry, I think that basically we might as well put Merlin Grohl in as well. But the lack of width is a
Yeah, yeah.
massive concern.
I'm also a bit concerned, as you say there, with how we're going to create chances here. I mean, you spot on probably trying to, to suffocate United in the midfield, wait for them to give the ball away and turn them over. But who is there for the turnover? It's Iliman and Jai. He's been poor since he's come back. Had a great season. You feel like he's still got lots to give, goals and assists. But can you get him 1v1 instead of having him as a right wing back effectively in some of these games? And Kinnan Dewsbury Hall, who just adds a little bit of class up there. So you're looking for them to provide some magic. Can we get some more players into the box? Can we be aggressive? Can we be tenacious? Can we suffocate United, make it very, very difficult? We've obviously beat them already this season. We had Jack Grealish and Jai on the wings and Dewsbury Hall and Barrett. It was a very balanced team, even with the 10 men. But I am a little bit worried now about how we're going to break teams down. We're very nervous, and the fans are going to be very nervous. Hopefully they'll be have a few drinks behind them and they can get up for this game. Up front, though, Tienu Barry, player scored, had a few goals in recent weeks but he's just falling off again with his terrible performance against Bournemouth, where he spoofs it wide for the first chance, the rebound chance, and then the one that was just a sitter from 3 yards out, which is just a squared across from Iliman and Jai and could just slot it in. I mean, I'm quite embarrassed and to have this guy, an Everton striker. He's clearly not ready. He needs time to develop, but he did score some wonderful goals for Aston Villa. So, but it's not enough, is it, Steve? He's just got a striker. You pay to score goals. Are we expecting too much from him?
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking the fact that he's got to lead the line again after what's happened last time. He missed guilt cut chances against in the last game, and I think that we really need to be rotating the striker's point and saying it's not acceptable. You can't be missing these chances, especially you've done the hard work. You've put the ball in the box. He should have scored two um, in the last home game, and yet here he is again. I think the reason why he's got the nod is simply because we don't have the options there. I thought maybe Beto might have got a game today. But the main thing is that we've got to try and pick up some points, and I think that they don't want to knock his confidence. If they drop Barry now, they're basically saying to him, "That's it." Because they are similar. Let's face it. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Beto than Barry, but effectively they're very similar. They offer very similar attributes. Bato has a slightly different way of getting around the pitch, but effectively Barry has been he's been the opportunist to be there in the first place. He just doesn't look composed at all for me.
Yeah.
He looks like he can't hold up the ball at home. And I just feel like he's just all over the place. He doesn't put in anything that looks like a polished performance. Now, I don't mind that if he puts the ball in the net. The challenge is that he missed really two clear punches.
Yeah, he's either got to do one or two things, hasn't he? He's either got to score, and he doesn't necessarily have to play well. But if he scores and doesn't play well, then fine. But if he doesn't score, then I think you want it. The bare minimum is playing well. I mean, you want both. There have been times I've seen him, and I've been really impressed with his ability to press and cover the pitch and work and win a lot of headers. And then there's been other times where anything he's done has just been kind of marred by terrible misses, like at Sunderland away, at Bournemouth at home. But then Beto has also been guilty of that. I think of West Ham at home, Aston Villa at home. So it's very difficult to pick which poison you want to kind of poison yourself with. And the thing that today, Steve, though, in a lot of the games at home this season, we've only played one decent team, Arsenal. We've still not won a lot of the games. We've played poor teams and lost. Brentford, are okay, but we're not talking about top teams. You wonder whether David Moyes is going to change something today because he's playing Man U. Is he going to try and not play on the front foot? Maybe he's going to try and sit back a little bit and wait for United to make some mistakes and punish them rather than go for it the other way. But I think sometimes it doesn't matter. We've played games where we've had 5 defenders and 2 defensive midfielders, and we've still conceded stupid goals, from set pieces and things. So at what point do you draw the line and say this is just completely unacceptable? Would you say if he loses this, what would you be thinking? And how will Everton try to approach this?
Well, I think that if he loses this game, I don't think that people will be at his back because we went to Old Trafford and won unexpectedly, and he definitely had a point to prove. He looked absolutely delighted over the moon with that win, and we weren't we weren't expecting anything from that game. This game today, look, if we can get at least a draw from this game, I think it will be a game to move on from because it will be a difficult one. Obviously, it's the first time that they're coming to the Hill Dickinson, and I think that's a factor a lot of sides have had. They've then watched back videos of Spurs and other games and gone, yeah, it's an easy blueprint. Stifle the home crowd, overly expectant, and then pretty much the atmosphere will dampen down, and then you'll be able to
Well, no
get
one wants to be at the ground, really. You can't give the tickets away.
Newcastle. Well, that's another matter. But will Everton get anything from today's game? I don't really know. I'm not going thinking, oh, we're definitely going to get a result one way or another. One thing's for certain in his program notes, though, Ryan, today, David Moyes cited some of the previous big games, night matches against Manchester United. And I think there is a big atmosphere to be played today with the South Stand boasting some really fantastic banners, some of the biggest that the Premier League has ever seen, Ryan, today. So
Yeah,
anyone who's
great.
there, please leave the flags because there were some taken from the last game, which was a short shame. There's been volunteers who are getting involved. Hopefully, before the kickoff, it will be atmospheric, and then we can bring that into the match.
I
But
don't
it's really
really
hard to
think
get
that.
behind the side what doesn't possess that width.
And a sign that's had bad results because, ultimately mood was low and mood is going lower and lower. I don't know what it is. I just think people are a bit pissed off, whether that's accessibility to the stadium, whether that's performances, whether that's just a negative view. I can't remember what my point was leading into.
We're just not scoring enough goals at home, Ryan. I can't remember how many goals we've scored, but it's almost
We
like
don't
you
score.
can.
We scored 29 goals all season.
Most of them are away from home, I reckon, because we're not hitting the ball in the net, and that means that the crowd's starting to sense that we're not going to win. And also there's been a lack of 3 o'clock or anything close to weekend fixtures.
I also think the players look like a bag of nerves. Apart from the Bournemouth game, it looked very different. They didn't look nervous, and the fans look like we're good for kickoff before kickoff, and then I just think the atmosphere goes really flat, and everyone's just like a bit bored. I
Well,
don't know what it is.
that's how it's been at Goodison, even in recent years, even in the last season. I think we've got some big games still to come. This one obviously is a huge one. We've also got City and Liverpool at home, and it's a shame that they've come later in the season because I believe that they would have helped to create a little bit more of that kind of DNA atmosphere at the stadium. We are basically bringing in some very poor home form. We're one of the worst sides at home this season. We've basically, our league position is all about that away form, which is really, really good. And I think that it's really hard to get behind a side. The last time I thought Everton looked really good was when we had Drewsbury Hall, Grealish, and Ndiaye in the same lineup. Because at that point, with a couple of defensive players behind them, you think, well, who do you mark?
And then they've all got injured or been away one by one.
Yeah, spot on. So that's what's happened is we basically broke up that kind of trinity of players that have been quite hard to mark. Imagine those three with a good striker, like a Lukaku style striker in front of them, they would have a field day. I'd like to see Richarlison back. I know that will cause some mixed emotions, but I believe the guy's got blue in his blood and he keeps sitting on the Spurs bench, kind of crying out for us to go in for him, especially if we haven't got a lot of cash to spend and we want someone proven who can hit the ground running.
He's always injured, but I would certainly take him. Certainly, if we get into Europe as well, be a good asset. I'm going to look at some of the comments then. The talk of Dwight McNeil coming back into the squad today. Interesting. That means Asnu has dropped out. Adam Asnu signed for £10 million. I don't know what the hell we did this summer. We signed Charlie Alcaraz. If you're not going to play him, what's the point? We signed Adam Asnu. Not going to play him. What's the point? Tyler Dibbling, 35 million. What is the point? And Merlin Roll, what is the point? So there's 4 signings there, £100 million worth of players not getting a sniff in. Now, we're probably going to lose some connection in a moment, so we'll be wrapping things up fairly early tonight, but we did want to make sure we could get some content out before the game, so we do appreciate everyone coming on, and we love and appreciate you. Mark Foster, their centre mid is pedestrian, we need to get at them. Garner on Bruno, he won't let any grief. Get your score predictions in. That's Eugene. He's saying 4-1. And Kevin's saying 2-1. Why sign George if you're not going to play him? Might not be that good. Where's Alcaraz? I've got no idea. They're on the bench. Steve, can you get the bench?
The bench in a set, but look, you can't play George every game. It's too much pressure on the little guy. He's only what, 19?
If you're good enough, you play.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that about Rooney. Right, Ryan, I think we should start heading down to the Hill Dickinson to see this defeat in action. I'm sure we'll see everyone afterwards, and we'll be moaning about the same old players and the same old shit. So from me and from Ryan, you're going to say goodbye.
And from Shandy Schmabs, the legend.
Thanks for enjoying the drive with us, everyone. We'll see you after the
Thank
whistle,
you.
or maybe before if it's that bad.
We'll see you when we're miserable. Bye-bye.